Hi everyone, Heather Aston here with TT's Trinkets and Treasures. This is your first visit. Welcome. I'm very excited to have you here. I hope you enjoyed the video enough to subscribe and change the notifications to all so you don't miss any future videos. If you're a returning viewer, thank you for your continued support. I really appreciate it. Okay, guys, we're still in our men's jewelry challenge, and today we're going to do a very simple bracelet. I'm going to start it out with you and then finish one I did ahead of time, just so that you can see how it looks and how to tie on and tie off and whatever else. So let's go ahead and go down to the mat so we can get started. And here we are. I just have 2 cords of Eslon. And again, this could be a team thing, guys. Like if the Cardinals are the local team here in Arizona, and so the burgundy and black would be very popular with men here. We're just going to do this simple half hitch knot bracelet. These are typically tie-on bracelets for guys, but I'm going to go ahead and show you a way to make it adjustable. For this one, I had 48 inches of each, and you can see I have over 12 inches left by the time that I'm done. So when I cut this one, I cut it at 40 inches instead of 48. So I would still have enough. So this again is just all I did was I pulled off a section of about 5.5, 6 inches of cording. I tied the knot, stuck my flag pin into the knot, and then pulled the knot tight. So to join on this. So again, this is a very simple knot, guys. You're just going to take your, in this case, you're going to take your right cord and you're going to go over the black cord like that. Then you're going to pull it up and through. You just want to keep the other side pulled tight or taut so that when you're doing it, I'll show you again, it's going to go straight up instead of going to the center. So it's important that you keep this taut because otherwise you're just doing shoelace strings. So again, you're going to go over the top, and then I just reach through the loop, pull it over, and then pull it up tight. So that's 3. We're going to do for a total of 15. So 5, 6, 7. I'm going to go ahead and let it twist once because this knot will start, it's supposed to twist on you. Okay. So there's 6. Now I'm going to go to 7. You don't have to do that. You can do that at the end, but 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Now, I'm not quite sure why this knot is sliding like that because it should not be. You can just pull it tight again. So when you get done with the 15 knots going in the one direction and you want to do a color switch, you'll see that this is already starting to pull to the left-hand side. So all you're going to do in order to maintain the same twist pattern is you're just going to switch what cord you keep taut and what cord you go with. So now we're going to do 15 with the black. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You can see it's starting to twist. I'm going to go ahead and let it. I usually do that about halfway because that's like right when it's starting to like continue the twist. So we have 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. And even if your knot isn't twisting as much, you can put the twist in later. It's okay. Like I said, when you get ready to do the color change, the other cord should be on the right hand side at that point in time. Now, obviously, if you wanted to do this with 3 colors or 4 colors, whichever it is, you're just going to be knotting around how many other strands you have. Obviously, if you're going to be going around, you're basically well 300% because there would be 2 chords or 3 chords. And say you're doing 4 colors, you're going to be going around 3 chords rather than 1. So it's going to have an increased diameter that you're going to have to account for when cutting your cord. Also, it doesn't need to be a drastic difference because the other part is you're not going to be having, when it's in the center cord, it's not using up as much of the cord as when it's knotting around. So I would say for 3, I would say 48 inches is plenty. If you wanted to go 4 colors, I would say try 48. If it's not long enough, then increase at that point. You can also, if it's going to be a direct tie on, you obviously don't need to keep as much of a tail for the end. But just so I can show you guys one more time, when you get ready to do the color change, you're just going to switch the color. It should be naturally going that way. And then you will continue to have a more natural transition from color to color. And like I said, the twist, how much it twists is up to you. See how that's all I had to do? And it twisted up more. It's very easy to increase the amount of twist after the fact. Now, if you weren't wanting it to twist, you could do this and just go back and forth, the alternating half inch knot back and forth, and you're going to get a nice knotted structure. I just had a piece that I did that I wanted to show you guys and I forgot. I apologize. It creates a really nice cord too. If you're trying to do more of a vegan or leather, not trying not to use leather on any of my knotted designs, you can easily make this into a cord and then knot with this. You'll get a hang of how much string you need. It's not hard. All you need to do is take 2 sections of a specific length of cord. You're going to do the number of knots you're wanting to do, and then you're going to measure what's left. And that will give you a gauge of how much string you're using up when you're knotting versus something else. So it's good just to get, that's a good way to get your gauge, which is a term for any of you that crochet, knit, whatever, to get your gauge. You figure out how much yarn you're using for a set number of stitches, so on and so forth. It's the same thing with this. And like I said, this makes a very nice cord. You can also do this with hemp. If you wanted to, you could take a knot, take this and knot around a thicker piece of leather, like a 3 millimeter leather cord or whatnot, And then you use this and you knot around the leather rather than knotting around just the other cord. And then you get a thicker, more substantial cord. And it allows you to do more things. But literally, all you're going to do is just continue doing. I'm doing 15 knots in each pass because that's about it's about 3/4 of an inch twisted. If it was straight, it would be a full inch. But I just know that that's the measurement because I've made so many of these, like so many. They are very popular when you do craft fairs, especially if, like I said, you did the local sports teams colors. It'll be a big seller for it. It's good. It's good for summertime. It's good for Christmas gifts. It's good for all of that. Um, and it doesn't take a long time to do, especially once you get your rhythm, and you're gonna not even have to you're not even going to have to count each and every single knot as you go. You will get to the point where you can just kind of gauge and say, okay, now it's time to switch. You could do that by how many twists you have. That's one way. This one is slightly more than 2 full twists for this specific cord level, the thickness, all of that. Then, like I said, all you have to do is switch which hand, and the twist will continue. Is it going to continue perfectly with no interruption? Like if somebody wants to really get in there and see, they're going to see that there's a slight transition space, but it's minuscule. And I don't think anybody should be paying that close of attention to a detail like that. But that's my opinion. But like I said, you don't have to. And once you get in a rhythm, like I always pull it down and then I put the back one around my finger, throw it over, pull it through. And that's the way that I knot. It's more fluid because I've been doing like when I'm actually doing it than when I'm trying to demonstrate it, especially because I'm trying to stay up enough so that you can see what the knotting is looking like. But time to twist. You see how it's just getting to be it was starting to pull and it wasn't as fluid going around. So then I recognized that I needed to go ahead and let it twist around itself so that it becomes a more natural twist. You don't want to force it to stay straight and then try to completely twist the whole thing at a later time. That's not you will not get the consistency that you will if you just let the cord do what it wants to do naturally. So, like I said, I mean, how long's the video been going? 14 minutes. And I'm about a third of the way done with this already. I don't know why I did that. I was going to switch off, but I'm a third of the way done with the bracelet already. Obviously, the tighter you pull your knot, the more stiff this is going to be. You don't want to leave it too loose, but you also don't want to try to put it on somebody's wrist and it's too stiff, that it's not fluid enough to be able to tie around. And like I said, for a lot of people, these are tie-on bracelets. You tie them on them at the craft fair and they wear it home like that. And then when they get sick of it, they cut it off. You can also very easily attach a clasp to this. Today, I know that I like my little silicone tubes, but this wouldn't be thick enough to use something like that on. So you could use a thinner one. I have some of these teeny tiny bail beads that are the same thing. They're just the little silicone part of it. And then it does have a little bail bead on it that you can add something to. If you didn't want to use it, you can cut it off, obviously. So the only thing with this one is the easiest way to get it through is actually to use another piece of string. I don't need all of this, so I will cut it off right here. The easiest way to do it is going to be to create another string, but you're going to need these to be needle points so that you can push them through without using too much force. Let's see. What's my lighter? So I'm just going to take the flames and twist it a little bit. I meant for it's not making my needle point. It's keeping it twisted, but it's not doing what I want to do. There we go. That's what I was looking for. Because then you can push that through this. And then it works. The easiest way to do it, honestly, is to put the strand around the other one or to glue these two ends together so they become one. And you do that by melting them and twisting them together while they're melted like that. Then you can put this through your silicone bail bead like that. Pull it out enough. Oh, it's split. Dang it. Hold on. Let me try that again. That is going to happen. You will get breakage. This is not the easiest method to like finish off a bracelet, but it's nice. It gives you an adjustable option for your customers with so that they don't have to know the person they're buying for their wrist size. So let's see. This one is just not strong enough. Hold on. Try it again. I didn't get it to twist. Come on, twist for me. There we go. Hope that one's strong enough to go through. It looks a little thin. No, I got it. I just don't know that it's going to go through. Of course, I do these all the time. If I knew where my 4mm ones were, I would definitely be using those. But basically, what you're going to want to do, I'm about to pull out some of the Beadalon beading wire in 2 seconds. Yep, that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to instead take a piece of Beadalon. This one is thicker. Where's my thinner version of this? Soft flex right here is too thick. I don't know that I can get 2 of these through, but I can try. I need to grab my cutters. And then I'm going to grab these because they'll fold better if I do. If I like press this in, and this is the exact reason that I use the Beadalon, because once it crimps, it kind of stays that way, whereas the Soft Flex has more give. Obviously, if you kink it like that, it's going to go through, but then I'm just going to force both strands of this Beadalon. These might just be too small. This is a new box, but it was a reorder, so I don't understand why it's not going through. Let's see if I can pull that one strand like one at a time, maybe. Maybe it's just both of them trying to go through at the same time that's causing me grief. So let's see if I cut off this little end right here. That's kind of kinked. I can push it through without losing the other one. Goodness gracious. I refuse to restart this video because of these errors, because you guys need to see that it happens to everybody. I don't understand why this isn't going. I've literally used these all the time. And I just can't get that other one to go through. I don't know if I don't have any fine soft flex right now or any fine of this. So we're going to go on to another way to do it. Okay. The other way to do it is to take your completed bracelet. Let me pull this one off. If you tie on that way, you're going to have to pull this tight, and you want to do it towards it so you don't have a split. I don't want to tie this off because I cut enough to actually make another bracelet, and I have some Cardinal fans in my life. So instead, we're going to use one of my little sewing clips that I like to use because bead bugs they're not easy to use. They're thick. They don't, I don't know. They just don't work for me. But when I start this, guys, I always like to use 2 clips. And I should just get a knotting thing. I know. I've thought about it, but tools aren't as fun to buy as beads are. So you would just need to choose which color it is that you want to tie it off with. You could do it with 2 different colors. I don't think that's really necessary, but it's completely up to you. I'm going to cut about 12 inches of cord here. And then I have the 2 lengths there, both clipped off. And that's just to keep them together so that I'm not trying to wrap around loose cords. Once you make the first knot, though, after that point, you're good. So we're going to do a square knot. And the way you're going to do that, I always start on the left-hand side. So if you start on the other side, feel free to do so. Let me get stuff that has the letters off so it doesn't try to focus on those. You're going to put your left cord over the top. Then you're going to take your bottom cord over the top of that one and then up and through the loop on your left-hand side. You're then going to tighten this. You do not want to over tighten this. Otherwise, it's impossible for them to slide it to get it on and off. So we're just going to do it taut. Then you're going to do the same thing on the other side. You're going to cross the cord over the center cord. You're going to take the left-hand cord over the right-hand cord and then up and through the loop on the other side. And that creates a square knot. If you're not used to macrame and you have to, I'm going to try to pull this up so you can see better. You probably hear my dogs going nuts. My husband's got open the store. If you have to put this down and you're not sure what side you ended on, you want to go to the side that has the little bump over the top. When I'll go ahead and do the first half of this knot, which is, again, you just go over the center. Then you go over the top of the cord and up and through the loop on the end. Ramsey, stop. So you'll see now that I ended on this side has the little bump I was talking about right there. So then you know that's the next knot you need to do. And it's done exactly the same way. Over the center. Then I'll show you again. I'm sorry. I should have shown you that whole process. Okay, so you're going to go over the center. You're going to take the opposite cord over the other cord and then go behind and up through the loop. Then to finish it, you just do that in reverse. So you're going to go over the center cord. You're going to pass this one over and then up and through. Oops, lost my cord in my hand. Over and then up and under through the loop and pull it taut. Again, you don't want this too tight or they will not be able to slide the cords back and forth. And I tend to do 5 or 6 square knots. I don't like to do a lot more than that because it's on the under part of the bracelet and I like the focus to go the other way. So I want it on the top of the wrist. And I don't like to have to include this. Like some people do a full inch of square knots. If that's what you prefer, go ahead and do so. I don't think it's necessary to do that. Right now I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to do one more. Also, I like to show my customers what to do if for whatever reason one of the square knots comes loose after it's melted and they've taken it home. I like to show them this is all you have to do. You just clip it and burn the end and tap it in and it's fixed. That's the other reason that I might do 5 or 6 knots. So there we go. We have our 5 knots there. So all we're going to do now is we're going to clip the ends. You don't need to leave much behind in order to glue them. Okay. I was like, what did I do for my lighter? You're going to take your lighter and you're just going to burn it down. And once you get that little knob, use the end of your lighter to push it in. And then it's melted on itself. Then sometimes when that happens, the other side gets a little loose. So I always like to tug it just a bit, push it, and tap it in. And then that's done. You can take the cords off. Now, however much you leave when you're finished with everything, and I like to pull it all the way in to make sure that the strands are even, like you just saw that one strand wasn't pulled as much as the other. So it created a little loop. Again, you're going to pull both strands just to make sure that they're even and through. And then right now, as this sits, let me grab a mandrel so I can show you. Oh, I hate that noise. Okay, so as this one sits right now, it's at 7.5 inches. So I have found that you need 1.5 inches over that. So we're going to go to 10 inches, which means that when this is pulled out, it's 10 inches and then you can knot the cord. Since I know this is 7.25 and that, or 7.5, and I want to get to 10 inches, I know that I can tie this off at about 1.5 inches. If you really want to be on the safe side, you can go 2 inches. And then if your customer doesn't need that much or doesn't like the amount of length left on, you can go in and trim it and make it shorter. But all you have to do is make a simple knot. You don't even need, like, you can do a surgeon's knot, and I'll show you what that is in case you don't know that. Wait, it didn't go through. I was like, what the heck? The red thread didn't go through. So you're just going to wrap it around your finger. And if you're going to do a surgeon's knot, the only thing that is different is that you're going to pass both cords through the loop twice rather than once. And then pay attention to where you're pulling it so that you don't leave too long of a cord. And again, you're going to have to pull both strings down to make sure that they get good and tight. And then this will keep it from going underneath the square knot when it's not being worn. And then we're going to do the other side. But like I said, you don't have to do a surgeon's knot, a double knot. It's not necessary. I like the little bit bigger of the knot that it is. Now I'm going to try to match this up. Let me see. The set is quite a bit longer. So before I pull this tight, we are going to, because you can also use a knotting awl so that you don't have to do all of this, and you can still get a good, there we go. That's about where I want it. Yep. So first thing I want to do is pull the red cord, because that one was buckling, as you saw. And you're going to pull them tight, pull them together. And then you can either clip off and burn the ends, or you can clip off and fray the ends. Again, that's a completely personal thing from one artist, one customer, one anything. A lot of times I like to leave these unknotted behind my booth. I didn't get the best knot there. Man, I thought I evened it out. It's okay. I can fix that. It'll just be for a smaller person or something. I don't know. I'll fix it. It's not a big deal. Have I said the word knot enough in this knotting video? Probably. Anyways, there you go. Simple, effective way to make a simple bracelet for a guy. Obviously, you swap the colors or something to that effect, and you can say it's more feminine. A female could totally wear this. You can also put little beads at the end, do a knot, add a bead, do a second knot as a way to kind of dress it up a little bit if that's what you'd like to do. But this is all that's necessary, in my opinion, at least for demonstration purposes. And you guys can take the design and run with it after that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If so, please give it a like. Maybe leave me a comment if you have any questions. And if you're not a subscriber, I would love if you would subscribe, change the notification bell to all so that you get notified on any of my future videos. Thank you. Have a great, wonderful day. As always, guys, happy beading.